In the endless depths of space, humanity's reach had expanded far beyond the familiar cradle of Earth. The cosmos, a vast tapestry of twinkling stars and silent voids, bore witness to an age where interstellar ambition danced hand in hand with fragile truce. Amid swirling nebulae and sprawling asteroid fields, a delicate peace prevailed, a peace stitched together by the ingenuity of mankind and haunted by the echoes of past conflicts. At the heart of this celestial frontier, an immense orbital station stood as both guardian and sentinel. Its panoramic observation deck offered a breathtaking view of the cosmic ballet beyond, a universe where shimmering lights mingled with the dark, infinite expanse. Here, the hum of energy shields and the soft pulse of propulsion systems served as constant reminders of humanity's technological prowess, while a quiet tension underscored every calculated movement. Within the station's luminous corridors, engineers and strategists worked in a rhythm as timeless as the stars themselves. Data flowed ceaselessly from distant outposts and far-flung satellites, each flickering signal a potential harbinger of the uncertainties that lay ahead. In the controlled glow of myriad displays, every anomaly hinted at dangers unspoken, a reminder that beneath the veneer of advanced civilization lurked vulnerabilities yet unhealed. This scene of meticulous order was not without its echoes of melancholy. The great expansion into the cosmos, celebrated with triumphant fanfare and bold vision, now bore the bittersweet weight of unhealed wounds. The silent corridors of the station resonated with memories of battles fought long ago, a past where victories came at tremendous cost, and peace was perpetually balanced on a knife edge. As soft light played across polished metal surfaces and the stars beckoned with promises of mystery and marvel, those who stood vigil on the station felt an unspoken unity. Each heartbeat, each surge of energy coursing through the interstellar vessels, testified to the enduring spirit of a people determined to forge a future out of adversity. In the quiet moments between duty and reflection, hope flickered like a solitary beacon, a reminder that even amidst the vast, indifferent cosmos, resilience and the promise of renewal could still shine brightly. In these hushed instants of calm, before the inevitable tide of conflict would rise, the echoes of a fading peace spoke with profound clarity. They whispered of dreams both deferred and realized, of sacrifices that had paved the way for a new horizon, a horizon where every star was a silent witness to humanity's relentless pursuit of survival and triumph. The corridors of the flagship Vanguard hummed with the quiet precision of routine. In the heart of the vessel, Commander Aurora Reyes strode purposefully along a gleaming passageway, her steady footsteps echoing against the metallic walls. The soft ambient light, diffused by panels of advanced circuitry, lent the scene an almost otherworldly glow, a stark reminder that even in moments of calm, the mysteries of the cosmos were ever present. Aurora paused before a large viewport that offered an uninterrupted vista of the void, a tapestry of scattered stars and distant galaxies. Here, she allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. In the silence, the weight of her responsibilities pressed upon her, mingling with the memories of losses endured and battles fought. She recalled the faces of those she'd led, the unspoken promises of protection and hope that had become her guiding star. A faint smile touched her lips, not out of mirth, but in quiet determination. Her thoughts were interrupted by the brisk footsteps of Lieutenant Mara, a trusted officer with eyes that held both wisdom and a spark of youthful defiance. Commander Reyes, the day's briefings are ready. The tactical team is awaiting your input on the latest sensor readings, Mara reported, her voice a blend of respect and urgency. Thank you, Lieutenant, Aurora replied, her tone measured yet resolute. Let's convene and discuss our next steps. As they walked briskly towards the Strategic Command Center, Aurora's mind was already piecing together the subtle cues from the data, a rising anomaly on the outer perimeter that hinted at disturbances yet to be fully understood. Inside the command center, a congregation of officers gathered around holographic displays, their collective focus drawing an invisible map of the surrounding space. The room buzzed with quiet tension, each officer absorbed in their duty. Aurora took her place at the helm, her gaze sweeping over the array of data points that flickered like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. Report, she commanded, her voice cutting through the low murmur of voices. A young analyst, eyes wide with both apprehension and anticipation, stepped forward. Commander, we've detected unusual fluctuations near the edge of our patrol zone. It's subtle, but consistent, a pattern that defies our usual sensor noise. The analyst's words were measured, laden with the unspoken acknowledgement that nothing in space was ever accidental. Aurora nodded thoughtfully. Prepare a full analysis. We need to understand every nuance of this disturbance. Her directive was clear, a call to arms against the unknown that lurked just beyond the boundaries of routine. As the team dispersed to gather further data, Aurora retreated to a quieter alcove of the command center. Here, the soft hum of the ship's engine served as a lullaby to her restless thoughts. She recalled the stories of early explorers, brave souls who had ventured into uncharted territory driven by the promise of discovery. Yet, unlike them, she bore the heavy mantle of command, with lives and futures interwoven into every decision she made. The Vanguard was more than a battleship. It was a sanctuary for hope amid the encroaching darkness. Every crew member, from the seasoned veterans to the eager recruits, contributed to a legacy of resilience that Aurora vowed to protect. With a deep breath, she allowed herself to be buoyed by that unyielding spirit, silently reaffirming her commitment to defend the fragile peace that held their world together. In the midst of these internal reveries, the command center's atmosphere shifted subtly, as if the ship itself sensed the stirring of an unseen force. The once steady pulse of routine gave way to an undercurrent of anticipation. Aurora's eyes narrowed as she surveyed the gathered data once more, her mind sharpening with the clarity of a leader who had weathered storms before. This was not the clamor of impending war, but rather the quiet before the tempest, a prelude to a challenge that would test not just the strength of her armada, but the very essence of human resolve. In that moment, as the Vanguard sailed silently through the star-strewn darkness, Aurora Reyes stood as the embodiment of hope and determination, a lone sentinel guarding the threshold between a fragile calm and the chaotic surge of destiny. Far from the flickering consoles and routine chatter of the Vanguard, a cold and calculating presence ruled aboard an alien flagship that seemed to merge with the void itself. In a dimly lit war room, where eerie blue lights danced across smooth, obsidian walls, Admiral Cale Threx gathered his top lieutenants. The room pulsed with an almost imperceptible energy, a manifestation of the alien armada's unyielding ambition and silent, relentless purpose. Threx stood at the forefront, his figure both imposing and enigmatic. His eyes, glimmering with a fierce intelligence, surveyed his assembled officers with a calm that bordered on icy detachment. The alien commander's voice, modulated and precise, sliced through the ambient hum of technology. "Prepare the fleet. Our scouts have confirmed the disturbance at the edge of the human patrol zone," he intoned, his tone betraying no hint of doubt. Every word was deliberate, each syllable measured to instill absolute obedience and quiet dread among his subordinates. His posture radiated confidence, a conviction born from countless battles and an unshakable belief in the superiority of his race. A slender officer, draped in ceremonial armor that bore intricate, otherworldly symbols, stepped forward. "Admiral Threx, the humans remain unaware of our full capabilities. Their sensors register mere anomalies, not the harbingers of our approach." The officer's voice trembled only slightly as he offered his assessment, a subtle nod to both the enormity of the mission and the danger of underestimation. Threx's eyes narrowed ever so slightly, a silent acknowledgement of the stakes at hand. "Underestimation is their greatest flaw," he declared. "They cling to a fragile peace, ignorant of the true power that lurks beyond their borders. We will shatter that illusion, piece by piece, until their hope dissolves into nothingness." The Admiral's words reverberated in the sterile space, each resonating like a cold decree from a world far removed from human sentiment. Behind him, a vast holographic projection of the solar system glowed, marking the human patrol zones with blinking beacons of light. Threx's slender, elongated fingers traced a deliberate path over the projection, as if mapping the route to inevitable conquest. Around the room, the lieutenants exchanged curt glances, silent communications that spoke of loyalty and the acceptance of a mission that was as merciless as it was precise. The air was thick with a tension that could only be born of imminent action. Here, in this chamber of calculated ambition, the destiny of worlds was being plotted not through brute force, but with the chilling efficiency of a well-oiled machine. Threx continued, his voice now a murmur of lethal promise. "When our fleet converges, their defenses will crumble under the weight of our united assault. Humanity's belief in its invincibility is misplaced, and soon they will witness the true magnitude of our strength." His tone conveyed not only a strategic certainty, but an almost philosophical disdain for the human capacity to hope, a hope he considered naive in the face of the relentless march of his armada. As the meeting drew to a close, Threx's final words hung in the air, a silent curse and a prophecy of devastation. Let them revel in their temporary peace. Soon they will know the darkness that follows their misguided confidence. With that, the Admiral dismissed his officers, leaving them to prepare for the dark ballet of war that was poised to ignite in the vast, unyielding void of space. In that moment, as the alien fleet silently prepared for its decisive move, the shadow of menace deepened, an ominous prelude to the collision of two worlds. The calm before the storm was not merely a fleeting pause, but the dark heartbeat of a destiny that promised to reshape the very fabric of existence. In the deep belly of the Vanguard, the command center pulsed with an urgency that belied the earlier calm. Holographic maps and streaming data cascaded in midair, their shifting patterns casting a surreal glow on the faces of officers gathered in a tight semicircle around the central console. The air itself vibrated with a determined energy, a collective resolve that whispered of battles yet to be fought and victories to be claimed. Commander Aurora Reyes stood at the head of the assembly, her presence radiating the quiet authority of a leader who had weathered storms both external and internal. Her eyes, sharp and unyielding, scanned the room as she absorbed every detail from the swirling digital maps and sensor readouts. "We're not just reacting," she began, her voice firm and measured. "We're anticipating the enemy's next move. Every blip, every anomaly, it's a clue and a puzzle we must solve before our adversary strikes again." At her side, Lieutenant Mara adjusted the controls on a nearby terminal, her fingers deftly manipulating the data streams. "Commander, our sensors are showing unusual activity near the outer patrol ring. It's subtle, but the pattern suggests coordinated movements." "They're testing our responses," Mara reported, her tone a mix of analytical precision and a hint of concern. A murmur of agreement rippled through the room as other officers leaned forward, their attention intensifying. Aurora turned to his senior strategist, Commander Voss, who had earned renown for his unorthodox methods. "Commander Voss, I want a full tactical analysis. Identify any vulnerabilities and propose countermeasures. We need every edge we can muster," she ordered, her gaze piercing as if challenging the cosmos itself. Voss nodded and quickly began outlining a plan on the central display. His voice, though calm, carried the weight of years spent in the crucible of conflict. "We're facing an enemy that underestimates us at every turn," he said. "Let's use that to our advantage. I propose we simulate a diversion on the starboard flank while a smaller, agile unit slips through their formation on the port side. This might force them to reveal their true formation, giving us the upper hand." A ripple of quiet excitement passed through the gathered officers. The plan was audacious, risky, yet imbued with the kind of creative daring that had carried humanity through its darkest hours. Aurora allowed herself a brief nod of approval. "Make it so," she instructed, her tone leaving no room for debate. "Mara, coordinate with the fleet's maneuvering teams and prepare the decoy units. Commander Voss, finalize your tactical breakdown and have it ready for a full simulation within the hour." The room buzzed as orders cascaded from one terminal to another. In the midst of this orchestrated chaos, Aurora found a moment to step back and survey her team, a tapestry of seasoned veterans and bright, determined newcomers all united by a single, unbreakable purpose. The Vanguard was more than a ship. It was a sanctuary of hope and a fortress of resolve, its crew bound together by shared dreams and the unspoken promise to defend humanity's future. In a quieter corner of the command center, Aurora allowed herself a reflective pause. The weight of command was heavy, yet it was buoyed by the trust and competence of those around her. The data flickering on the screen spoke of hidden dangers, but they also shone a light on the potential for unity, the kind of unity that could transform a seemingly insurmountable threat into a stepping stone toward triumph. A soft chime signaled the arrival of the simulation results. Aurora's eyes narrowed as she studied the projection, a complex dance of light and shadow, strategy and counter-strategy, unfolding in real time. The decoy maneuver, a brilliant stroke of calculated risk, was already yielding promising results. It was as if every decision, every whispered confidence among the crew, was building toward a single, resolute moment of collective genius. "Prepare for full engagement," Aurora declared, her voice carrying over the din of activity with an unwavering calm. "Let the enemy come. We are ready." In that charged moment, as the Vanguard and its defenders braced for the looming tempest, the command center was transformed from a room of cautious preparation into a crucible of resolve. Every officer, every sensor reading, every calculated risk converged on a single truth. The strength of humanity was not measured solely by the might of its battleships, but by the indomitable spirit that rallied behind them. The stage was set, and as the digital maps of distant stars flickered with promise and peril, the crew of the Vanguard steeled themselves for the storm that was coming, a storm that would test the very limits of their courage and ingenuity. The cosmos exploded in a symphony of light and chaos as the enemy's presence materialized from the void. In the midst of a starlit battlefield, the Vanguard and its escorting fleet engaged in an awe-inspiring dance of destruction and defiance. Bolts of energy crisscrossed the darkness, illuminating the swirling debris of shattered asteroids and the ghostly trails left by vanishing enemy fighters. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Commander Aurora Reyes's eyes were fixed on the unfolding battle through the holographic war map. Every pulse of the ship's systems vibrated in harmony with the relentless cadence of combat. "All stations, report," she ordered, her voice clear and unwavering over the comlink. The sound of rapid, precise commands and the clatter of emergency protocols filled the air, echoing the urgency of survival in the void. From deep within the command center, Lieutenant Mara's voice broke through the tumult. "Commander, enemy squadrons are converging from the starboard flank, multiple formations, coordinated and swift." Her tone was laced with both urgency and a hint of exhilaration, as if the thrill of battle fused with the determination to prevail. Aurora's mind raced through contingencies. Divert power to forward shields and engage evasive maneuvers. "Commander Voss, adjust our vector to intercept their trajectory. We're turning their momentum against them." The strategic brilliance of her words was matched only by the precision of her orders. Every decision was a calculated risk, a gambit poised to exploit the enemy's overconfidence. Outside the viewport, the stars served as silent witnesses to the unfolding epic. The once still expanse now bore the scars of battle, searing streaks of plasma, crumbling hulls of enemy drones, and explosions that blossomed like supernovae against the black canvas of space. The Vanguard itself shuddered as it absorbed the impact of stray enemy fire, its resilient hull glowing with transient heat before settling back into its measured rhythm. In the midst of the fray, a smaller squadron of human fighters weaved through the cosmic carnage. Their agile crafts, lithe and maneuverable, darted like comets among the towering behemoths of warships. In the heat of battle, heated exchanges crackled over comm channels. "Hold formation and watch for ambushes," one pilot shouted, voice strained but resolute, as he guided his craft into a narrow passage between drifting space debris. High above the tumult, the holographic projection in the command center pulsed with new data, a real-time tapestry of tactical maneuvers and emerging vulnerabilities. Commander Voss's strategy had begun to yield results. The enemy's formation wavered, caught off guard by the decoy and subsequent flanking maneuver. "Their left flank is disintegrating," reported an officer, eyes wide with a mix of relief and adrenaline. "Redirect additional firepower to exploit the gap." Aurora's heart pounded as she witnessed the enemy's disarray. "All units, concentrate fire on the exposed formation," she commanded. The bridge erupted into a flurry of coordinated action. Energy cannons roared to life, and the unified force of the fleet unleashed a barrage of incandescent beams. The impact was immediate and brutal. Enemy fighters were scattered like cosmic dust, their once cohesive formation dissolving into chaos. Amid the relentless barrage, a moment of eerie stillness fell over the Vanguard as it narrowly evaded a concentrated strike aimed directly at its core. In that suspended heartbeat, Aurora allowed herself a brief, silent acknowledgement of the stakes. Each decision, each command, was not only a bid for victory but a desperate stand against oblivion. "Maintain current course and hold steady." Aurora's voice resonated with a commanding blend of authority and hope. "Our unity will be our strength." Her words, charged with the conviction of a leader who had witnessed both triumph and loss, bolstered the spirit of every soul aboard the ship. The battle raged on in an unyielding contest of strategy and raw power. As the enemy's coordinated assaults faltered under the unrelenting pressure of human ingenuity, the cosmic ballet transformed into a testament to the indomitable will of those defending Earth's legacy. Every flash of light, every pulse of energy, was a declaration that humanity, once dismissed as weak, would prove its might in the crucible of the stars. In that vast, unforgiving theater of war, where every spark of defiance was met with a barrage of fury, the Vanguard sailed steadily forward. The clash among the stars was more than a mere battle. It was the awakening of a force that would forever alter the fate of worlds, a prelude to the ultimate reckoning that lay ahead. In the heart of the cosmic maelstrom, where chaos and order collided in a dazzling array of light and shadow, the tide of battle began to shift. Amid the relentless barrage of energy and exploding debris, Commander Aurora Reyes found herself at the crossroads of fate, a moment when every decision could tip the scales towards salvation or annihilation. The Vanguard rocked under the combined might of enemy fire, yet within its resilient hull, a quiet determination burned like a beacon. Aurora's eyes, focused and unyielding, scanned the rapidly changing tactical displays as she absorbed fresh streams of data. Her mind raced through possibilities with the precision of a seasoned strategist. "We've isolated a weakness in their formation," she murmured, her voice a blend of urgency and steely resolve. "It's time to press the advantage." Across the bridge, the atmosphere thickened with anticipation. Lieutenant Mara's steady hands danced over the console, coordinating a synchronized response that melded instinct with innovative tactics. "Commander, our diversion has lured a significant portion of their fleet away from the main body. This gap is our opportunity," she reported, her tone conveying both the tension of the moment and the hope of a breakthrough. Commander Voss, ever the visionary amidst the maelstrom, leaned in to present his calculated gambit. "We redirect a concentrated strike towards the breach, combining our heavy artillery with the agile maneuvering of our fighter squadron. It's a risky pincer movement, but if executed correctly, it will force them into disarray." His words resonated like a clarion call through the humming corridors of the vanguard. Aurora's pulse quickened as she weighed the risks and rewards. She could sense the enemy's faltering cohesion, a subtle but unmistakable sign that their confidence was waning under the relentless pressure of human ingenuity. "All right," she commanded, her voice slicing through the din of the battle. "Prepare the strike package. Mara, coordinate with our wing commanders. Voss, lock onto their weak flank and begin the simulation for our counterattack. Let's turn their momentum against them." Outside, the dark canvas of space became a theater of transformation. The once formidable enemy formation wavered, its rigid structure buckling under the barrage of coordinated fire. Explosions punctuated the void like distant supernovae, each burst a declaration that the course of the battle was no longer set in stone. As human fighters swept in with predatory grace, their nimble crafts weaving through the chaotic remnants of enemy ships, the vanguard became a nucleus of determination, a rallying point where hope and courage converged. In a secluded control alcove, Aurora allowed herself a fleeting moment of introspection. Amid the whir of consoles and the hum of active shields, she recalled the faces of her crew, each a testament to resilience and unwavering resolve. Their sacrifices, their relentless spirit, had brought them this far. The thought kindled a fierce protective fire within her, spurring her to push forward, even as uncertainty loomed large. "Strike now." Aurora's command reverberated across the bridge like a battle hymn. The fleet surged forward in unison, an orchestrated symphony of light and defiance. Energy cannons roared to life, their brilliant beams converging on the exposed flank of the enemy armada. The resulting impact was cataclysmic, a swirling maelstrom of shattered metal and cascading plasma that heralded the beginning of the end for the opposing forces. As the enemy's formation crumbled into chaos, Admiral Cale Threx's orders crackled weakly over the comms, a last-ditch attempt to regroup. Yet, in the face of this new, overwhelming force, his voice was drowned by the rising tide of human resilience. The shifting momentum of the battle was palpable, a turning tide that no amount of alien strategy or cold calculation could reverse. In the aftermath of the pivotal strike, a brief, surreal calm settled over the vanguard. The crew, though battered and strained, shared in a moment of collective triumph, a silent acknowledgement that their audacity had begun to alter the fate of the conflict. Commander Reyes gazed out at the cosmic battlefield, where remnants of the enemy flickered like dying embers against the vast darkness. The turning tide was not just a tactical victory, it was a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity, a force that could transform desperation into hope and chaos into the seeds of a new future. As the vanguard sailed resolutely into the evolving battle, the promise of a decisive victory shimmered on the horizon. The war was far from over, but in that critical moment, the course of destiny had unmistakably shifted, a clear, resounding affirmation that even in the vast, unforgiving depths of space, hope could emerge victorious from the shadows of despair. The cosmos ignited in a final, searing blaze of conflict. As if choreographed by fate, the vanguard and its fleet met Admiral Threx's remaining forces in a heart-stopping collision of wills, a confrontation that would etch itself into the annals of history. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. The distant stars, once silent witnesses, now pulsed with a frenetic glow as beams of energy crisscrossed the void. Commander Aurora Reyes, standing resolute on the bridge, felt the weight of every life in her command. Every decision hereafter was a gambit, each command a bid for the survival of not only her crew but the future of humanity itself. "Steady, everyone," Aurora's voice rang out, firm yet laced with the calm of unwavering determination. "This is our defining hour. Hold the line and trust in our unity." The command reverberated through the vessel, and as if on cue, every officer and pilot prepared to face the storm head-on. Across the vast battlefield, Admiral Cale Threx orchestrated his final assault with calculated precision. His holographic displays showed the chaotic ballet of combat, ships spiraling through deadly arcs, formations breaking under the onslaught of human ingenuity. Yet, despite the overwhelming numbers, his voice remained unyielding. "Engage at maximum capacity. Crush their resolve before they can regroup," he ordered, his tone cold and unremitting. In the ensuing minutes, space erupted with the furious sounds of warfare. The Vanguard led the charge, a beacon of light slicing through the darkness. As enemy fighters closed in with desperate ferocity, Aurora's orders cascaded like a symphony of defiance. Divert all remaining power to forward shields. Target their command vessel, disable, don't destroy, she directed, her voice steady even as explosions rocked the ship. In a daring maneuver, a squadron of human fighters surged forward. They wove through enemy lines with the grace of acrobats and the precision of seasoned warriors, targeting weak points in the alien armada's formation. One pilot's voice crackled through the comm, "I've got a clear shot at their central core, engaging now." His words were met with a chorus of determined responses from his comrades. The battle escalated into a maelstrom of light and shadow. Within the command center, holographic maps pulsed with frenetic activity. Commander Voss and his team analyzed the shifting formations, constantly recalibrating strategies as new vulnerabilities emerged. "Their left flank is wavering, shift additional fire to that sector," an officer called out, his tone a mixture of excitement and steely resolve. At the epicenter of the conflict, the Vanguard closed in on the enemy's command vessel. The two colossal ships, symbols of opposing destinies, locked in a silent duel amid the chaos. In a moment that stretched like eternity, Aurora's gaze met the pulsing core of the alien flagship. Every system, every heartbeat, seemed poised on the edge of annihilation. Now, Aurora's command was a single, decisive word that shattered the tumult. The Vanguard unleashed its concentrated firepower, a cascade of energy that lit up the darkness and sent shockwaves rippling through the enemy's formation. The alien vessel shuddered under the barrage, its hull cracking and flaring with bursts of plasma as critical systems began to fail. Within the enemy ranks, Admiral Threx's controlled demeanor faltered. His final orders, once filled with unyielding confidence, now carried an undercurrent of desperation. "Retreat and regroup," he barked into the comms, as the overwhelming might of humanity turned his carefully constructed assault into disarray. But there was no turning back. The human forces, spurred by a fierce blend of relief and relentless determination, pressed their advantage. Every laser volley, every deft maneuver, bore the signature of a species refusing to be defined by its past limitations. In the space between explosions and dying stars, the final confrontation blazed on, a titanic clash where courage eclipsed despair. For Commander Reyes, each moment was a testament to the human spirit's resilience. As she watched the enemy command vessel begin its inevitable collapse into chaos, she knew that this was more than a battle. It was the culmination of every sacrifice, every whispered hope shared among the stars. In that climactic instant, the fate of worlds pivoted on a razor's edge. With the alien armada crumbling under the ferocity of their united assault, the Vanguard and its fleet emerged as the architects of their own destiny. The final confrontation, a tempest of light and fury, was not just a victory in battle, it was a resounding declaration that even in the vast, indifferent depths of space, humanity's spirit burned brighter than any star. As the last echoes of battle faded into the silent void, the cosmos bore witness to the bittersweet aftermath of war. The once fiery expanse had dimmed, replaced by a solemn quiet that resonated with both loss and hope. The shattered remnants of the enemy armada drifted like ghostly memories against the backdrop of scattered starlight, while the battered yet unbowed Vanguard sailed steadily through the silent corridors of space. On board the Vanguard, the atmosphere was one of reflective calm. Crew members moved with a deliberate grace, tending to wounded comrades and salvaging the wreckage of what had been a relentless struggle for survival. Commander Aurora Reyes stood on the bridge, her eyes tracing the delicate interplay of light and shadow that danced over the remnants of distant explosions. The scars of conflict were etched not only on the hulls of her ship and its allies, but in the hearts of those who had fought, each mark a silent testament to sacrifice and perseverance. In the quiet that followed the storm, the crew gathered in a modest assembly hall, a space once brimming with urgent commands and frantic energy, now transformed into a sanctuary for contemplation and renewal. Faces etched with fatigue and determination met one another in somber camaraderie. There was a palpable recognition of the cost of victory, the lives lost, the dreams deferred, and the sacrifices made in the crucible of war. Lieutenant Mara stepped forward, her voice soft yet resonant with conviction. "We have endured the darkest hours, and in doing so, discovered the true measure of our strength. It is not in the might of our weapons, but in our unity, our compassion, and our unwavering resolve." Her words, spoken with the quiet authority of someone who had seen both the depths of despair and the spark of hope, struck a chord with every listener. Across the ship, memories of the fierce battles played like silent films in the minds of those who remained. Yet, in each recollection was the seed of rebirth, a reminder that from the ruins of conflict, a new future could emerge. The Vanguard was not merely a vessel of war. It was a beacon for a world determined to rebuild, to learn from the past, and to forge ahead into uncharted territories. In a secluded corner of the bridge, Commander Reyes allowed herself a rare moment of vulnerability. Her gaze drifted toward a digital display projecting images of Earth and the newly liberated sectors of the solar system. Here lay the promise of a fresh beginning, a world where the horrors of war could give way to the dreams of peace and progress. The challenges ahead were daunting, but so too was the indomitable spirit of humanity that had prevailed against overwhelming odds. As the ship set a new course for the reconstructed orbital sanctuaries and the long-awaited reunion with Earth's people, every crew member carried with them a quiet determination. They were no longer just survivors. They were the architects of a renewed future, bound together by the shared conviction that the human spirit could transcend even the most devastating of trials. The cosmos, vast and eternal, shimmered with the promise of tomorrow. In the delicate balance of light and darkness, amid the scattered fragments of a war-torn past, hope emerged as the brightest star of all, a luminous guide for those daring enough to dream of peace, unity, and rebirth. The journey was far from over, but in that final, reflective moment, the legacy of sacrifice transformed into the enduring promise of new beginnings. With every passing moment, humanity stepped forward into an era defined not by the ruins of what had been, but by the endless possibilities of what could be.